Tristan, I'm going to bring you on, man.
Let's do it.
How's it going?
I love it, dude.
The only thing I can think of is a famous line from The Office, "My, how the turntables," because now we're interviewing you and you're always the one interviewing all of us. So
that is very funny. That's very true. Very true indeed.
How's your day going, man?
Good, man. Trying out a new connection here with my Camlink 4K with my Canon 80D, and I'm trying to remove the brackets, but you know what? It looks good. So I'm going to keep the brackets for now.
I love the Baby Yoda. You always have the cool things in your background. So,
dude, and you know what? You got to check this out. It's called the Roost. It's this little device, and it pops up your Mac or I have a Mac PC like this. So it's elevated, and you can look directly into the camera. I've got two, so this one always goes with me. But dude, look at that. Easy. It's called the Roost. If you want to check it out, Roost.
I love it. I will actually be checking. I was just thinking that actually earlier when I put my standing desk up, now it was like pointed up weird. If I had that, it could have angled it a little better for me, right?
Yeah. I carry an extra one in my backpack just in case.
Because you're always streaming pretty much, right?
Always, buddy.
Tristan, for those of us on here that don't know you, or I mean, pretty much everyone knows you, but maybe there's a few that don't. Give us a little bit about your background, where you're coming from.
Awesome. I'm a real estate agent out here in Southern California, out of Los Angeles, Malibu area. And I've been in real estate since 2004. I started speaking for Realtor.com back in 2013. And that led to me creating Lab Coat Agents, which is now the largest online community for real estate agents in the world. And so from there, we got connected to Facebook and all these other amazing companies, which started a whole different venture, which now I consult too. So I'm a real estate agent, run teams. Now I consult companies like Facebook and other tech companies out there that you may have heard of. So that's a little bit about me.
I didn't know you're involved. So you consult them on marketing,
I consult them specifically on marketing to real estate agents and breaking into that whole world. So we were very integral in them creating the things that they've created over the last 3 years that help real estate agents use Facebook, right? So a lot of the connections that they have, we connected them to those big companies. Number one, Keller Williams, right? We made that connection and we showed them, hey, this is what we should be doing. So yeah, dude, that's a really fun partnership, by the way. Yeah.
So were there certain, actually, are you talking like features or what are some of the things that?
Well, they come to us. I'll tell you, like on the detailed side, they would come to us and say, well, how do you guys see this working for real estate agents, brokerages, teams, or in the real estate world in general? They don't come to us for the consumer side. They come to us for helping them understand how to make the product work for real estate agents better. Yeah. So on the back end of lead ads, what they should add, what they shouldn't, things like that.
I love it. So getting a little bit into our topic today, you have Lab Coat Agents, which is just hot. There's always conversation going on there. Every post. What, a couple hundred comments.
Good and bad.
There's all that. You know what? When I first got started at Sisu, that was like, man, this is where I'm going to learn like kind of how this industry works, right? Tell me, we wanted to talk about the trends because you kind of have this unique perspective on all these things. You're interviewing all these people. And we want to talk about trends that you're seeing that you think will be impactful for, team leaders and brokers that are listening here. So maybe dig into those a little bit. What are some of those things that you're seeing that could be impactful moving forward?
All right, buddy. I just sent you a number. If you could throw that into like a banner. So if anybody has any questions, they could just text me as well.
I love that.
During or after, and it goes directly to my phone here. So I could definitely see that. Well, let's start with the biggest trends. I actually outlined this because you said, hey, well, let's talk about the biggest trends in real estate. And so I've got some great ones for you. But the very first one I want to talk about is this, and that's even in real estate, we have 128,000 real estate agents in in lab coat agents. Okay. And out of those, we have 109,000 engage every 28 days. We have 500,000 plus comments, likes, posts in the community every 28 days. So it's insane. Like I can go in there and take a look at it, and I can give you it's like a survey. We look in the back and we're like, okay, here's our demographic. Here's exactly what you should be doing. And so the topic that you picked was perfect because I'm going to start off with this. People right now in real estate are getting a lot more comfortable with just saying what's on their mind. And I don't know if that's a great thing or not, because in the business we're in, we have to protect that perception that we have, that perception that consumers have of us, right? And whether it's the consumer or other real estate agents that may work with you in the future through referrals or just in partnership because we represent the buyer and they represent the seller, right? And so I think that's one trend I want to talk about first, and then we'll get into all the other good trends. But just be aware, be more aware of what you say and how you say it to people, because especially in lab coat agents, there's thousands of people watching, and you make a bad move and all of a sudden people will know who you are and what you said, and they'll snapshot it and send it over to who knows where.
You're going to get canceled, as they say these days.
Dude, you're going to get canceled for sure. So if you don't do it because you actually care and you want to be a better human being, because you want to be more aware of socially aware or just emotionally aware, then do it for the simple purpose of not screwing up your business. And we see that so often because we get bombarded with messages. Oh, did you see so-and-so? Hey, what's happening over there? You've got to shut this thread down. So I'm telling you, because we have a pulse on what's happening in real estate, and I don't want it to be a reflection, unfortunately, of what's happening in our country, where everybody's got an opinion and you think you're right and the other person is wrong. I want you to come in and be open to listening to what the other person has to say without having an opinion or shutting them down. Just realizing that we're two different people. Like Zach could be a Republican or a Democrat, and I could be a Republican or Democrat, and we can still talk it out and love each other. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So just have that awareness when you're dealing with your personal business, because once this is all over and our country's back on track, it's going to matter.
Yeah.
That's trend number one, Zach.
I love it.
And that's all across social there. So trend number two is cool, because I don't know how many people have been paying attention to Snapchat, and then Instagram, and now TikTok. And what you go back and you go and you say, well, Snapchat was cool, but it just never got to that hype that most people wanted it to get to. But we can learn one thing from them. They started doing stories, which is, in short, it's like these shortened clips of either video or shortened pictures, length that you can take a look at it, and then it disappears. Well, Instagram took that and then made it extremely popular to the point that we're now doing 1 billion stories a day all throughout Instagram across the world, right? So that's a lot of stories, right? And now you take it one step further and you realize that TikTok created a whole platform based on stories, right? I mean, you can go up to 60 seconds now, but in essence, it's that 15-second spot that most people use.
Yeah.
And you have to think, well, why do I have to know that? Well, if you're paying attention, this is where social media is going, right? This is a trend you need to pay attention to, especially because they were on the news just a month ago, how they were going to get canceled, and then they weren't. And then they made a partnership with Oracle, and now Oracle is handling their privacy in the United States. So with 100 million American users, United States, TikTok is something you have to pay attention to. And the other social media outlets are paying attention now, because now you have YouTube, who just announced September 19th or 14th, one of those days. They said, hey, we're going to do YouTube Shorts.
Oh, wow.
What is YouTube Shorts? Well, Google it, but YouTube Shorts in essence are 60-second video clips, right? And so they want to get into this as well. And so now you're like, okay, well, let me take a look at my phone, open it up. You and some of you may already have that feature on on YouTube. So click to create a video, and it says short. Click it. It'll give you a 60-second clip. If you don't, you use the hashtag in the description, shorts, and usually YouTube will throw it into the shorts playlist section. So that's how we've been doing it. We have a few shorts there if you want to take a look at ours. It's just my name, Tristan Ahumada, on YouTube. But that's something you need to pay attention to. This is where social media is heading, right? It's already there with TikTok. And you think, well, how many users in YouTube? Well, you have about 250 million American users, 217 million Facebook monthly users, and 100 million TikTok users in the United States. That's a lot, man. That they're catching steam. Just at the beginning of the year, they had 23 million US users. That's a massive jump, which then says, well, I guess TikTok isn't for teens anymore, is it? No. The demographic just got into the 20s now, and it's getting into the late 20s, early 30s. And that's our sweet spot for purchasing. Because according to NAR, most people purchase in their early 30s or first-time home. And that's what's pushing that needle. So if you haven't looked at TikTok recently, or if you haven't thought about doing short video clips, now is the time. Now's the time to start doing it. Go ahead.
It's how all social, I mean, even Instagram started with the young people and it moved up, into higher demographics. And, I'm assuming Facebook was the same, but it's an interesting point.
Yeah, dude. It's you just have to pay attention. This is why if I see something new, I try it out and I'm like, how does this work?
Yeah.
When I first got into TikTok, I was like, well, this is not for me. This was 2 years ago. I was like, everybody's at a way younger age. They're dancing and they're making funny videos. And I go, I suck at both. I'm not funny and I can't dance. So I'm out. And then I came back later. I kept it in the background. All right, next. Any questions on that?
No, unless you got a text.
Nope.
I got your number up there streaming, so I think we're good.
I'll check, buddy. I'll check. So no questions on that. Let's go to the next one. And I don't know if have you heard of position zero?
I have not.
Okay, cool. I thought you hadn't. I was hoping you hadn't, so I can tell you what it is. So for so many years, we've been shooting for positioning our website or our content to the very first page of Google, right? Let's go first. Let's try to be at least on the first page, hopefully on the top with all of our search engine optimization, with all of our keywords and everything. Well, if you've noticed, and you can try it right now or later, whoever's listening in, try typing in a specific search or a specific definition for any word. And what you have is a separate section at the very top of Google, and that's called position zero. And that's specifically for any company or any blog or anything that Google says, I'm going to give you an example, Zach. Like if somebody types in Sisu, and then they type in tech for keeping track of all real estate deals. Boom, done. All of a sudden, Sisu's at the very top because those are the keywords they chose. And it goes above that regular search. It looks completely different.
Interesting.
It's an actual excerpt, like a real excerpt from the news. And that's position zero. So what Google is doing is Google is rewarding all of those companies that have the correct information in there. And because it's so new, not a lot of people, it's kind of new. It's like maybe 2 months old. Not a lot of people are looking into this and saying, well, maybe I should actually be putting more effort into the actual real definitions of what we do or who we want to attract. So now the thing you want to shoot for is position zero.
Is this Google, or I guess it's part of their algorithm that decides it based on your updated info, or?
Yeah,
okay.
That's all it does. You know what? If you're typing it right now, just type in, I'm going to type it in with you. Type in position zero. Let's see, position zero. And you see at the very top, it's got like a little section on its own. That's position zero, bro.
That's like the whole page.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that's way cool.
So that's what they're doing. And I think we need to pay a lot more attention to that, specifically as real estate agents who want to own cities or towns or tracts, right? We need to be looking more into keywords. So that's the next one. Any questions on that one?
Oh, I think we're good.
Good. All right. Let me just check on my end here if I got any questions. Good.
Mary I do have one question. Is this like SEO?
It's exactly like SEO, but the more information you have about a specific area, the more Google is going to say this person is an authority or this company is an authority over everybody else. So I suggest if you're going to do this, Mary Jane, focus in on going super niche. So like in my area where I live, I'm going to go down to the track, right? Down to those tracks, or maybe even down to a community, and outlining every single track with every single street, every little shop. All of a sudden I become that authority over everybody else. And that's what they're looking for. So it's deeper SEO. Good question. Good question. All right. Let's move on to the next one, dude. This one's easy, but I saw it surge so much in this year, and that's communities, groups, right? I think COVID hit, and all of a sudden everybody was creating a group. Everybody was creating a community, and most of them were being created in Facebook because it's the easiest place to create a community. Now, the thing that I also noticed, you fast forward 3 months after COVID, and people started dropping off, like their community started dying out. They didn't start paying attention to them. So there's an opportunity here. There's a massive opportunity in creating an actual business through communities. And that's really where you have to take a look and say, well, do I want to make a business out of this? What's the purpose of creating a community? And I don't think you ever ask that. You just kind of just create a community and like, let's do this because I really want to do this for my specific area, right? And I don't think that's good enough. So I've outlined really four types of communities overall that exist as communities. Number one, special interests. And that's, I mean, this is pretty easy, but it's like a cat group. Everybody knows cat groups, right? They're a very special interest group. Kayaking, something along those lines. That's type one, special interest. Type two is community type groups. And this is where I see real estate agents do better at. And that's picking either a track, a city, or a township, or maybe even a bigger area like a demographic. So that would be a community type group. Number three, type three is business group. You're looking then at, you know what, if you wanted to create one, like a CSU group, right? Like that.
Yep.
Or if you want to type in a great community out there, if you want to take a look at it, would be something along the lines of Peloton. Peloton would get a great community. And then the fourth one that I always say is one like lab coat agents, one that is a group that has same beliefs or standards, or we're giving advice and solutions to certain things.
Yeah.
And so that's really how I see you dissecting what group to create, but go with your passion. Like Zach, if you're a real estate agent and you're like, man, I don't know what type of community I like to create. I ask you questions. I'd be like, Zach, well, what do you love doing, dude, on your spare time? What do you love doing? Let's go through this.
I love wakeboarding.
Dude, wakeboarding is awesome.
Yeah.
So I would totally create a wakeboarding community. And from that, people get to know who you are, right? And eventually, very quickly, people will know that you're a real estate agent because all of the content, if it's video, you're going to be like, hey, this is Zach again, real estate agent out here in Malibu. And let's talk about choosing the right wakeboards because I've been wakeboarding for a long time. That's how you start, right? And then people get to know that you're running the community, you're a real estate agent, and you're fun, and you know what you're doing with wakeboards. This is why I tell people, maybe instead of creating a community one, why don't you focus on your passion and let that shine through? Because then you're going to attract people that already love what you love. And how are they not going to love you if they already love what you love? Right? So that's one. And if you don't want to create it on Facebook, there are so many different other places you can create. One of them that comes to mind, I think, is Mighty Community. Let me check right now on my computer. Mighty, no, it's called Mighty Networks, I think. Let me check really
I've
quick.
seen it. Yeah, Mighty Networks.
Yeah, Mighty Networks, that's the one. So you can also create a community outside of Facebook with this. They create amazing apps and websites so they can hold a community together. Very similar to what you see in Facebook, but the cool thing about this is it takes it outside of Facebook, so you don't have to rely on Facebook. And what I've seen is some agents do this. We haven't done this yet, but we're thinking of doing a VIP list. And so our VIP community are all of our past clients, all of our core sphere, those people, and inviting them to our VIP community. We don't have a name for it yet, but because I keep on talking to some agents that are doing really well with this, we're thinking of doing this. And the people that would qualify for this are people that have referred us over the last 12 months or over the last 24 months, depending on what you want to do. And in the VIP community, you do giveaways and you have get-togethers. Obviously, with COVID, that changes a little bit. You can change that up. But that's one thing that you can do that stands out, which leads me into the next one, Zach, because I don't want to focus too much on communities and groups here. But that's really connecting deeper with your past clients and your core sphere. And I've noticed that as a trend over the last 7 months, ever since COVID hit, however long that's been. That's a massive trend. All of a sudden, people are picking up the phone, those that are succeeding, and calling up and saying, hey, Zach, it's Tristan. Dude, I'm just calling up everybody I know on my phone, just making sure you're good. That was the conversation that was happening at the beginning of COVID, right? And then transitioned over to, hey, I'm giving you a call to let you know how the market is doing, because a lot of people seem to be confused. They thought, I had one conversation where my client thought the market was tanking. And I was like, no, it's the actual opposite, right? And they could not believe me no matter what I told them. So I had to text them 3 different articles, and they're like, no way, this is impossible. And I'm like, yeah, who knew, right? We're the ones leading us out of this whole terrible possible economy. But now it's looking good. So I'm noticing a trend there, but I'm also noticing the leading indicator of that is the agents making the calls to their past clients and core sphere. And I'm noticing that the tech companies, some of them are catching on and saying, well, this makes a lot of sense. Why wasn't anybody focusing on this part of the business? Because it matters so much. All of a sudden, if you focus on your past clients and your core sphere, you eliminate companies like Zillow, because by the time they reach Zillow, they already have that relationship with you. And if they're going to Zillow, it's just a search, and they'll come right back to you to tell you what they found, right? So now you're starting to see some tech companies coming in and saying, whoa, we can automate this process for you with text, email, voicemail drops, handwritten letters, all to your core sphere and to your past clients. And all of a sudden, that looks more attractive to me as a real estate agent, right? Who loves technology, but wants to stay in contact with past clients and sphere. They're solving a problem. So I think that was a big one for me that I'm noticing a trend on. So we're going to see that trend continue along with groups and communities. Yep. Any questions on that?
Nope, I think we're good. This is good stuff.
Cool, dude. Here's close to my last one here. It's a deeper connection. I don't know if you're familiar with, Facebook did a study that they released June, I think it was. June 2020, just like 3 months ago.
Yep.
It's there. If you want to Google it, everybody, it's a Real Estate Professional's Guide to Success. Real Estate Professional's Guide to Success. It's free. And they did these amazing studies that show how people are using social media and how real estate fits in specifically with Facebook and with Instagram, right? And one thing that was an amazing stat for me that just opened up my eyes, besides these 2 stats, by the way, 168 million Americans are using Facebook every day. That was crazy, every day. And US people are using Facebook, Instagram, both, because it's the same company, an hour and 15 minutes a day. That's a ton. But besides that, there was another stat that really blew my mind, and that goes into the type of connections that we really want to have, and that's through other people. And check this out: 65% of home buyers, that's 65%, dude. 65% of home buyers say they're influenced by their online friends' home buying posts on social media. Get out of here, dude. 65% of those people are looking at your social media and saying, oh, like I'm looking at yours, Zach, and I'm like, damn, Zach just bought a nice pad in Montana. I'm like, ooh, right on the river. Oh, that's so good. And I look over at my wife, I'm like, maybe we should look at Montana.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so we're missing an opportunity here as real estate agents, as marketers. When I go to Zach, and let's say we just closed with Zach, right? And I say, hey, Zach, dude, I know that you loved the property you purchased, and I loved working with you. I love working with people like you. If you get a chance, just throw it up on social media and give me a shout out, right? And then people do that. Who is your real estate agent? Oh, Tristan. Oh, and Tristan did an amazing job over here. Check out my pad. Check out my home, right? But to me, that's pretty powerful, man. 65% of home buyers say that they're influenced by their online friends' home buying on social. And we're not even tapping into that. We forget to let people know, hey, by the way, if you can post it up on social, right? We kind of just drop the ball. And it's our job to guide our clients to say or do certain things on social, or even for reviews. We've got the reviews kind of down for some of us. But what about them just posting naturally and saying, check out my new home?
Yeah.
So going deeper and then pivoting slightly on the deeper side, and I'll end with this. And that's when you have your home search, or when you have your website, or the process that people get to you or to get to search for homes through you on, you really need to make that more personal and more interactive. The personal side of it is this. If I go and check out homes on Zach's website, I don't want to have to search everything. And this is where dynamic ads for real estate, which they just recently changed the name to real estate ads 2 months ago.
Cool.
Crazy, right? So dynamic ads. This is where Facebook and Instagram, you market on there. Why? Dude, I don't think I have to repeat myself, but that's 217 million Americans are on Facebook every month, 168 million a day. All right, stat away. This dynamic ads, this personalizes it for me, and it goes deeper and it's interactive. Because as I go and search for homes, Zach, on your website, through Facebook, all of a sudden, the next time I go on, it remembers, it's dynamic, right? And now I don't have to send these people homes. The AI is remembering. It's machine learning. It's like, oh, wait, you search for a home on Whitefish, Montana. I'm bringing up Whitefish, Montana, because I just interviewed Chris Heller, and we were talking about Whitefish, Montana. Okay, that's why it's stuck in my head, Zach. So, and then you're looking like 3-bedroom, 2 baths, 700,000. Well, guess what's going to pop up automatically?
Yep.
Because it's personalized. That's what you need to look to do, right? Yep. You need to start looking for systems and processes that automate this for you and make it more personal for the consumer. Because if you don't, they're going to go to someone else who is. And so that's what you need to look for, man. That is going to be a wrap. I can go for another hour.
I wish we could. Maybe we'll have to do another webinar with you.
Dude, but I think I covered enough. If I want to stand out on one thing on this, shortened video is the future.
Yep.
And it's the immediate future, like next year. So you need to start clipping your videos anywhere between 15 seconds to a minute and getting whatever it is you're going to get out quickly so that you hook people really fast. I just interviewed this guy in the morning. If you want to pick up his book, Brendan Kane, 1 million followers. He's the guy that ran Taylor Swift's Facebook and social media and a whole bunch of other amazing people. But he said, it's the hook, man. You got 3 seconds. Hook them.
Yep.
So that's it. Any questions?
Tristan, I think we're good, man. Thank you so much for hopping on. Some huge insights there from you, which are very much appreciated. So
yeah, for sure, buddy. And then you got Tom. Say a hi to Tom for me.
Yep, we have our next last presentation here with Tom. So Tristan, I'll let you go, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, buddy.
Yep, we'll see you. All right, everyone, we have one last presentation here. I'm going to drop the link for you in case you want to hop on over. But Brian, our CEO, will be talking with Tom. So watch for that link here in the comments, and we'll go from there. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. It's been an awesome summit. I've really appreciated being able to interview these people and having you all tune in. So watch for that link here in the comments.